Hey, we're live. Yeah, thanks. The camera angle is slightly like facing towards me, sort of. That's kind of hard to show, but it's not like directly overhead, so it's like sort of scuffed, but I think it's probably good enough. Hey, thanks, Kip. Yeah, don't want to miss the dock. That is much more important than this. Okay. Guessing I have probably enough screwdrivers here. We'll see. Yeah, I think it's premiering at like a few hours from now, 5 p.m. EST. That's cool. Yeah, very cool. Okay. I think I will do the box first because it's like a standard fight stick. And it'll be a good point of reference. I don't think the size has much to do with the price difference. It's much more what they're like on the inside. Because, like, this thing has a CNC'd case, which, generally speaking, costs a lot more than a steel, like, sheet metal case, which is what this is. So this like starts as a flat piece of steel, and then they like bend around this, and then they bend around this. So doing it like that is cheaper, but both ways end up making something that's really sturdy. But like the raw material cost isn't that big of a price difference deal, I don't think. But once we get into this thing, I think it'll be a lot more. apparent as to why the price is different. In case it wasn't obvious, I have put custom buttons on this thing, so it comes stock with black buttons, but I like the blue and black combo, so. Phone notifications are on. Whoops. Turn that off. All right, cool. So this thing just has 6 Phillips screws, and you're in. And whoops, this is just a steel bottom plate with, if it'll focus, countersunk screw holes. So put that aside. Okay, and like a normal fight stick, this just has arcade buttons snapped into it, 24mm, and that is where a big price difference comes between these two things. These buttons cost quite a lot more than a keyboard switch and a keycap, so that is one thing that drives the cost of these up. And it's also another thing that some people could have a preference towards, because there's a lot of customization you can do with this. You can get like clear buttons and put art in them and whatnot. So there is like a good bit of customization you can do with arcade buttons, but the stock switches that come in them are pretty trash, honestly. The lifespan of them is only 1 million presses, which is pretty abysmal in the grand scheme of things. But there are options to get keyboard switches put into these. They just are sort of expensive. But so that's what the inside of one of these looks like. Super simple, very easy to disassemble. Yeah, so like a Sanwa switch, I'm going to be, let me pull this thing out. Oh god, my headphone cable isn't long enough. I'm going to be attempting to show what the force curve of a Sanwa looks like. I don't have a setup. Actually, yeah, I do. So the force curves for, like, let me look up Gator on red. I don't have them on me, but we'll just view MH block. That's fine. Oh, that didn't work. There we go. I think, yeah. I'm just going to do that. So you can see there's like force curves existing for stuff like Cherry Match Black. And Gator on Clear also has a force curve somewhere. I just couldn't find it in like 10 seconds. But so the force curves are well defined for these, and I would like to dash cam. There we go. I would like to measure a Sanwa using a similar device that they use to measure keyboard switches. This just has like a force meter on the top. So I'm gonna try to mount this to a 3D printer, which has like really fine control of like how up and down this thing is. I'm gonna try and get a visual to showcase what people mean by like Sanwa's feeling weird, because I think that would be pretty useful to show. But yeah, that's all this is. If you want to change the buttons on this, at least this is the box R1. The R2 has a slightly different connector mechanism. These just use quick disconnects, which are really standard. And then the button a thing to push in there. There's like 2 tabs you have to push in, and then the button comes out. And to get the switches and the plungers out of here, it's sort of annoying. You have to like push into this hole. There's a little like tab there, and that has to go up and then out. And then the switch has these little, focus please. The switch has these little clips on them, and that's on either side, and you have to push those in. And you actually need to bend the prongs to fit them into a thin case like this. So you have to like unbend them to get the switches out, which is not that big of a deal. The switches, these prongs are like a lot more resilient than you might think. So it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so pulling these out on all of them and then replacing them is pretty annoying. It takes quite a while, but it's doable. And you'd have to do a similar process if you were to install the Box Team's newly released 20MX kit, which gives you good switches. Or there's also crown buttons, which replace the entire button, and that gives you good switches as well. So, sort of annoying process, but it's doable. I do not have the 20MX kit. It was not like officially released until a couple days ago. You could sort of like DM and get it, but I didn't want to get it until it was fully released. So I'll probably be getting it eventually. I don't know if I'll put it in this per se. I have another. I'll go get it. If I were to get a 20MX kit, I would probably put it in this guy, which is my DIY that has a really nice laser cut case. That's probably what I would put it in. Just because I really like how that thing looks. But yeah, I would like to try it eventually, because it sounds cool. And it would make that controller actually usable, because it uses clear Sanwas, which I think feel even worse than normal Sanwas. I really can't stand using that thing. So hopefully I'll probably get one eventually. We'll see, though. I mean, I really don't even play that much Melee, so it's it would be sort of a waste, but it's fun. Why not? Right, so you just slot these things back in. But yeah, on the new boxes, the R2, it has a thing, a JST connector, which just plugs in and out. It's even simpler than this. So, and the board just has 4 screws in each corner. And this button harness is like insanely hard to remove. So yeah, like if you don't have to remove this thing, don't remove it. It's rough. I did it once just out of curiosity because I heard it was really hard, and yeah, it is very hard to remove this thing. Yeah, the 20MX kit does use the same switches as the F1 Lite Teardown clears. I really recommend those. They're really nice. I used them in all of my MX-based controllers. These things are super nice, very lightweight and smooth. I like them. Okay. Bottom panel. So yeah, super easy to get into this thing, and we'll get back to it in a bit, but there's a lot of open space in here, you can see. And people have done like LED mods in these where they'll put in clear buttons and then like run some LED strips in here. So there's a lot of possibility for like case modding and stuff with this, which I'm not exactly sure how moddable these are. We'll definitely see once I open it up. But that is something to keep in mind, is that if you want to do like LED mods and like super custom looking buttons with art and stuff, then this definitely will be able to do that. So put this thing back together. Okay. So something that, like, you'll notice if I can get the light to shine on this right is like just handling it. The acrylic gets fingerprints on it really quickly, and that is something that has always annoyed me about acrylic boxes, and I do have a couple myself, and that does drive me sort of insane. Similar idea with this thing, which is clear acrylic. I don't know if it'll be picked up on camera, but there's like fingerprints and dust in between all of these layers, and that just, oh, it drives me nuts. And that is something that this definitely does better, being anodized. You can see if I like just put fingerprints all over it, they like barely show up. And then just like a quick wipe of a shirt on it and it's just back to normal. Whereas, whoops, drop. Acrylic is, takes like a lot more effort to actually clean. So that's something very nice about anodized finish. And the same thing applies here. Let's see. Let's see if I can get the light to shine on it. Yeah, it definitely is like barely noticeable, which is cool. If I do the same thing here, a lot more fingerprints. Definitely is a bit annoying. Hello, hello. How are you doing? Will this work? Yes, it will. Very nice. I'm doing pretty solid. So this thing, by the way, has a blue bottom panel, which is not the final color. That's just what the devs had left over. So, but it's just a different color. Finish similar to what ThinkPads use. I'm trying to think of what a ThinkPad feels like. Do you mean like around the keyboard or on the top of the ThinkPad? Like behind the monitor or whatever, like on the top panel? It does sort of feel like, I think it does feel like that, actually. It's really like, it's hard to describe what this feels like, because nothing, I can't really think of anything else that this feels like, but I'll have to go, I think my dad has a ThinkPad. I'll have to try to find that, and just, that does sort of remind me of it. It's like, it's not rubberized, but it's much less smooth, I guess, than like a glossy finish. It's still smooth, but it doesn't like, your finger doesn't just like slide across it. It's pretty nice feeling. I like it. It's definitely different though. I'm gonna have to try to find things before I post a review that it's similar to, like common items. So this has 6 screws as well. No problem. That's a good, thank you for reminding me of the ThinkPad, because I think you might be right. I think that might actually be something it feels like, which a lot of people have used before, so I'll definitely have to go track one down. Oh yeah, and the first thing you'll notice on this is it has this rubberized texture on it, which I know some people like because it prevents it from like sliding around. Like this thing ain't going anywhere, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I would necessarily prefer that because I don't know, I always wear pants and I never had that issue on my controllers, but it's nice for the people who want it at least. Dell XPS. I have not used a Dell XPS. Let me look around the room and see if there's anything that's similar to it. Yeah, I used the box without any anti-slip stuff, and yeah, I mean it does slide, but I've never had that be a problem. But I knew there was a lot of people who have. I've seen a lot of people in the box Discord who will put like an anti-slip pad on the bottom of it, so that's definitely something I know a lot of people would like. Doof, I just opened up the box and showed what was inside of it. If you've seen the inside of a fight stick before, it's basically like that. It's just 24 millimeter arcade buttons, and they're clipped in, and they use quick disconnects on the Box R1 and JSTs on the Box R2. And I also pointed out how this thing shows fingerprints really badly and really annoys me. That is definitely something to keep in mind. The F1 uses mechanical keyboard switches, and it uses keycaps that are like 21 millimeters ish. The keycaps are about the same diameter as like the part that you push down on a box. But yeah, so like with a microfiber, you can mostly get it out, but you can still see here like all these scratches and stuff that are just prone to happen on acrylic. That is definitely something that bothers me. And then I also showed that put this back in for the moment, that fingerprints like do not show up on anodized finishing, which is something I really love about this. I really need to get a keyboard that uses anodized finishing. This thing is aluminum CNC. Is this anodized? This might be anodized. I don't know. I love this thing. This thing's case is just, oh, look at how well this thing is built. Look at that. It's like an iPod mini. It's like a solid block of aluminum cylinder or something. Very cool. But yeah, so it does not show fingerprints at all. And same thing here. I really like that. This shows like slightly more fingerprints than the anodized finish, but nothing like acrylic. Yeah, this is like super cool. It took me a while to get used to the layout on this thing. Because like it's just so wacky. I think the ortholinear, like them being in straight columns like this, really messed with me. Because like I used to press the C button with my index, and now like that's just totally in a different position. I have to use a middle finger now. And then what else messed me up? The shift button was in the wrong place, but I ended up using this for shift anyway. And then like there's a few other buttons that just felt so wrong for a while. But now that I've gotten used to this thing, it's so sick. But to the main event. And once again, this is blue because that's what they had at the time for prototypes and stuff. But the final panel will be silver. And I've been told the final board will be white instead of green. So that's something to also keep in mind. And also, this board was hand assembled, I believe. So you'll see like flux on the board where it's been assembled by a person. But the final one will, well, I actually don't know. I'm guessing the final one will be PCB factory assembled, because it would be kind of insane not to. Okay. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess it's just these two holding the PCB in, and then the rest are for the switch plate. So yeah. Oh yeah, another thing I mentioned about the box to do is that there's a ton of room in here because it's like hollow. You can put LED mods and custom buttons, etc. in here. Whereas this is like a solid brick, basically. There's no room for anything in here. So if you wanted to do mods, you'd have to be a lot more creative, basically. So take these out. So I'm guessing the board will just come out now? Question mark. Oh no, there's a third. Oops. Oh, there's a fourth. Gosh, I'm blind. Oh, wrong size. Yeah, these are different sizes. I'm guessing that might have just been a placeholder thing, but it's possible that's the final thing, in which case you'd need two sizes of driver. I'm guessing this is PH1 and this is, let me look. Yeah, PH1 and PH2 it looks like, approximately. But it's also possible that was just because this is a prototype, and they'll be the same screw size eventually. There we go. So the board just lifts out, and that's because these are optical switches. They're not connected to the board at all. They're just connected to the switch plate. And then they hover over these sensors. Let me get a close up. Focus, please. Hello? Must go deeper. We are in the lab. Let me put a flashlight on this. Maybe that'll make it focus. Maybe. Is that really as clear as it gets? Maybe I just have to hold it up closer. Yeah, I've not experimented with this camera much, I'm not gonna lie. I don't actually know what it's capable of. Maybe that's just as clear as it gets. That's kind of sad. Come on. No. Oh, that's a shame. Well, anyways. So the switches, they hover over these pieces. This is an infrared LED, and this is a phototransistor. So when the board is powered on, these LEDs will like shine a light over to the phototransistor, and I should have a switch somewhere around here. I'll just pull one out of this board. All right. So I do need the flashlight. So this like switch, oh, I really wish this was in better focus, but when you push the switch down, this little rod goes through it, and when this is on the board, the rod will block that light, and when the light is blocked, the phototransistor will activate and power on the switch. So pretty cool, and it means that you don't have to mount your switches directly to the board, so it makes disassembling a bit easier, which is nice. Zoom back out a bit. Okay. A bit further. Okay, so what else is there to note on here? This is a Brookboard header. Let me grab a Brookboard real quick. Found one. Lovely. So, as you can see, there's like this slot here, and that's actually where the Brookboard slots into, which is really neat because on mine, I have this slot in the back, which is where the Brookboard slots into right here. And when you do it like that, that means that your case has to be like 12 millimeters thicker. Like these layers here are to accommodate the Brookboard and my logic board, but I could have put the logic board on the main board. But so like to have a Brookboard, if you put it on the bottom, that means you need another like 12 millimeters. So what the F1 has done is put it like above the PCB, but like beneath the top. So they like cut out a section of the PCB to fit it, and then they cut out a section of the case to fit it, which is like super cool, and I'm like probably going to be stealing that idea. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to redesign my controller or not. But yeah, so this thing, I actually don't know if the software has been programmed for this, so I might not leave this in here. But yeah, so you slot the board in like that. And this actually uses, let's see if I can show it. Or is it going to be too dark? Yeah, it's going to be too dark. I'll unplug this first. Well, first I'll show you. This thing slots in like so, and I'm guessing there's enough space beneath it so that it's not going to short itself. I'm going to have to ask about that, because this looks like it's getting really close to this aluminum, and, well, I guess I can check, can't I? I don't know where my good multimeter is, so I'll use this trash one. Which brick boards are compatible? I think all of the main ones are. So, like, the PS3, PS4 board, which I have, this green one. And then the PS4 Audio Plus one, which I also have, but it's in a controller right now. The Brook wireless board should fit, and the Universal Fighting board should also fit. So that's like the 4 major ones, I think. I think the Brook retro board might also fit if you have a need for that, but you couldn't access its RJ45 port, so that would be kind of worthless. But yeah, the 4 main ones will fit, at least. And I think those have all been tested and working, so that's cool. What did I want to say? Oh, yeah. This looks a bit dangerously close to the aluminum down there. So, and I'm just going to check really quick. Does this thing not have... Okay, this cheap multimeter does not have continuity mode. Yikes. Where's my good one? Hold on, I need to go find my multimeter. I'm so prepared. Bruh. Aha. Found it. Oops. Okay. So I just wanted to check. I'm pretty sure the aluminum will conduct. I just wanted to check. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, wait, yes, it does. Or does it? Sort of. Yes. Sometimes? Hello? In some places. Okay, maybe like where the anodized finish isn't perfect, it conducts. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to ask if this usually kills the... That's what I thought. That makes sense. So I'm going to just be sure that this doesn't contact this, because if it does, then you could just put some like tape down or something. Anyways, I'm going to pull this out because I don't actually know if the firmware supports it yet. I'll have to ask about that and do it at another time. Thank you, Brookboard, for your demonstration purposes. Okay. Put this aside. Gee, that would be awkward if I accidentally killed this board. That'd be... Yeah, let's not think about that. Okay, next. So there's like... These are the same, and this one's different. And that was the bottom right corner. Okay. So then... Switch plate can come out. I also believe this switch plate is the final files, like the final CAD files, but it was cut from a US-based manufacturer rather than wherever it's going to be cut finally, which is probably China, maybe. But the prototype from wherever the final switch plates are being made was not perfect, so the team got it cut locally so that they could get it faster. But the files are all the same, so there shouldn't be any difference between where it's cut. Okay. So this, in theory, should come out. Am I missing a screw? No. Hey, no problem. Glad to cover new stuff. It's fun. Is there something this is getting caught on? This is the heavy. This is the metal cased one. And I'll also be taking apart the light one as well, which is here. I am not too sure how easy it is to swap the caps yet. That's sort of what I guess we're getting to by taking this thing apart. So far, it's just been a few screws. I think it was 4 in the PCB, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the switch plate, and then 6 on the bottom panel. So if that's all you need, then it should be pretty easy. I'm not sure if a tool has been made to remove the caps. So it's possible you'll have to do this, like taking apart the thing to remove the caps. So I'm trying to figure out what this is stuck on. Is this supposed to come out? I don't think so. Tab in the upper left corner. Like up here, you mean? Like to pull on, or up here? I think it's getting caught on something down here, like in between them. I'm not sure what you're looking at. Oh. I'm guessing it's getting caught on this. See the inside edge. Ah. I'm pretty sure that it's stuck on this, and I'm guessing that that's part of the case, like the anodized block thing. I don't think that's supposed to come out though. One second. Hello, hello. Yeah, I could just pry at it, but I'm going to make sure that I'm not doing anything dumb. One second. Yeah, everything else seems free besides that. I think it might just be a really tight fit around it. And that's causing it to like hold it in place. Let me get a flat head. Yeah, no. Yeah, I actually do that in this controller, which has an aluminum bottom. I've got like electrical tape lining underneath where the boards are. It's no big deal if that needs to be done. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely loose everywhere besides here. Before I break anything, I'm gonna ask Mr. Greg Turbo if I'm missing a step or if this thing is just really tightly in there. Because definitely am not trying to break anything. Maybe opening the light will explain things. Get the screws out of the way. Let's see if this looks like the same on the inside. I'm guessing that this case has thinner walls, so maybe the inside is different. These look to be the same screws as the heavy. Let's see. Yeah, they're the same. Yeah, that is quite hype, isn't it? I will definitely be ending this before then so I can go watch it. So yeah, unscrew and then you just flip it over. This comes out quite easily. And this is same material as the case, ABS. Put this over here. Okay. And as I guessed, this is using thinner case walls. Top is thinner as well, which makes sense. Something that does concern me a bit about this is that this is not using metal screw sockets. It's just straight into the plastic. So that is slightly concerning, because in theory, if you screw and unscrew enough times, then it won't fit very well. There is a decent amount of plastic around it though, so you might just be able to use a bigger screw if that does happen. And also this one, the PCB and the plate are more of a combined unit. So all of these screws look like they're screwing the PCB and the plate into the case, which makes sense since the switches are actually attached to this board with the hot swap sockets. So that makes sense. Alrighty, so that uses less screws than the other one. Let's see if this just comes out. Don't think I missed any. Or maybe this does come out without the switches. Let's see. Oh, it does. Oh, there are more screws. Okay. So this has hot swap sockets, and it looks like they just pull off of the switches. So, and this looks like the same switch plate. Yeah. So this just pulls off of the switches, it looks like. Set that aside. Here. And then it has screws for the switch plate into the case. And so it does look like on the heavy, put that over here. It does look like actually that this is just a hole in the switch plate, and that's being like gripped onto by this thing. So it might just be really tight on there. In which case, hopefully the final switch plate will have a slightly larger hole. But we'll see. Make sure I'm not missing anything there. Okay, so this one. Maybe they do have the same amount of screws then. Okay. Is that the same amount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, same amount of screws. So this thing should just come out. Yep. So that's the lights, switch plate, switches, and caps. And so worst case scenario, you do that to remove the keycaps and replace them. I might actually, at a later time, I might be putting these blue keycaps on there because blue and white looks pretty cool. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And the keycaps just come off, and the switches also just come off like a normal keyboard like this. So that's pretty simple. But yeah, using plastic sockets is a bit worrying. We will see. I don't really feel like stress testing it, but these are definitely not as like rigid as a metal socket, but maybe it's good enough. Do I replace the caps now? Nah. I'll try to figure out how to remove the caps without taking it apart, because that would be nice. So it looks like the plates are the same, which would lead me to believe you can just pull this thing out. But I'm not going to just test that, I don't think. Just in case. So let's go and put this thing back together. Wrong driver. Oh yeah, I should check. These, yeah, the buttons just automatically align when you screw them in, which makes sense. Just want to check because if they didn't like perfectly realign, then that would have been kind of annoying. Store out of 10? I don't think so. What I want to do is, let me find this document. I have a document I'm working on that is just like a bunch of parameters, right? And I'll basically just mention all of the parameters for all of them, what I think for that specific topic. And then I'll basically just leave it up to that because some people value other things more than others. So it's not really my call as to which one you would prefer. It's just mostly a matter of, do you value having this versus that? And I'm hoping to give enough details that people will be able to make their own decision. Let's see if I can share this. There we go. Basically just a bunch of different like factors of the controller that matter. So that's what I'll be judging them on, and then we'll be able to let people make their own decision, really. Okay. Okay, I have confirmed that that piece on the heavy case is just tight, and you just have to pull it. Let me confirm. Is that all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's supposed to be a 6th. One, two, three, four. Huh. It looks like there's another screw hole here, but no screw. Interesting. I don't think it needs one though, honestly, because yeah, this thing already has, well, maybe I could use another screw. Unless if I misplaced it. Oh shoot. Maybe I misplaced it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'll have to go watch the VOD. Maybe I might have lost that screw. It should be fine without it though, honestly. There's like barely any fudge to the plate. Okay, so this thing should be able to go over all of the switches. And should be able to just press in. All the hot swaps should connect. I'm going to test it real quick to make sure I didn't bend any of the pins though, just in case. Okay. Game controllers. That works. That works. That's good. That's good. Cool. Oh, wait. Did I bend this one? Or maybe this one just doesn't do anything. I'm gonna plug it into a GameCube real quick. It might just not do anything on PC. I don't think the firmware is finalized. There's my GameCube cable. Oh yeah, I should mention these cables that it come with, pretty solid. This is the USB to USB-C one, braided. Seems pretty durable. We'll see over time how long this holds up, but seems pretty good. There's my GameCube one. Can't find it. Oh, there it is. Alright, cool. Let's see how long this cable is. Actually, I have a second one. unplug the other. What do I have to compare it against? Ooh, idea. Okay, so this thing is 16 inches wide. Let's see how many 16 inches it is. This is turbo scuffed. I'm pretty sure this thing's 10 foot. Seems like a 10-foot cable. It's about, man, this is the most US measurement I've ever seen. It is about 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 5 16 inches. About. Very precise measurements from the American. 80, approximately 80 inches, which is 6.5 feet. Maybe it's 2 meters. Yeah, maybe 6.6 feet, 2 meters approximately. Yeah, the best freedom unit, 16 inches, 5 of those. All right. Oh, that's so scuffed. All right, and then hey, I sometimes need to use imperial units because my speed limit signs are in imperial, you know? Don't worry though, I design stuff in millimeters, so yeah, about the GameCube controller, and that is, it looks like it's about the same for the GameCube one as well. And the box GameCube controller one is on the right. Oh wait, never mind. This is the wrong one. I'm blind. There we go. So the box versus Frame1 GameCube cables, they look about the same, except that the Frame1 is braided and the box one is not. So some people like braids, others don't. I think both these cables are really good though. They seem very nice. The box ones I've been using for like 2 years, and is it 2 years? 1.5? A while. And they hold up pretty well. And the Frame1 might use the same cable manufacturer. These ends look about the same, but I'm sure they're probably fine. I do actually know people who don't like braid cables, at least for mice, because like the braid will like catch on things on your desk. But I guess it doesn't really matter for a controller since the cable's not actually touching anything. And I just like braided cables can fray. I know that like on my phone cable, I've had a couple braided phone cables and those like fray over time. So we'll see if that ends up happening. I think both the cables are fine though. They seem well built. The only cable that wasn't well built was my box was like serial number 9. It's like from the first batch, and those USB-C to USB-A cables were just like doomed to die. I didn't even try to use it because like everyone who used it ended up posting like a broken cable in the box Discord server, which was kind of yikes. So I never ended up using that. I'm not sure if they fixed that for the second revision or not, but I'm sure they probably did because it's not that much more expensive to get a good cable. So what was I doing? Oh yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't break any of the buttons when I was putting it back together. Pretty good. Do you know, Stefan, if this button works on PC at the moment? Because I just took the board out and put it back in, and I wanted to make sure I didn't bend any of the pins. I didn't see it do anything on the game controllers menu in Windows, so I'm gonna try it on GameCube next. Yeah, I saw quite a few pictures of the USB-C plug becoming dislodged, which is not good. Okay. Well, shoot, maybe I did bend the pins on the mid-shield button. Or maybe it just doesn't do anything at the moment. Let's try getting the switch plate out of the heavy, just out of curiosity's sake. So yeah, this is just a tight fit on this prototype panel, and it should be a bit wider on the final one, hopefully. Yeah, I could try like pushing these two switches maybe. Oof. Thing does not want to let go. I think if I could get something to like hook underneath that, that would work well. Maybe. Yeah, this is not a very good tool for that. It is coming up a bit. Ooh, that's a good idea. I'll put it in the fridge real quick. I'm gonna try to find something I can use to like pull up over here. I think that would help. Yeah, I'm thinking if I can get something like wedged in here, I could pull upwards. No, that ain't Yeah, a very small crowbar. The gap is a bit small though. Oh no. That's not good. Yeah, I'm trying to work this very tight bit out still. It does not want to give it up. I think if I had something small that could go into this, I could lever it out, but I can't think of something that would actually work there. Because, like, maybe if I did a smaller flathead than this thing. Because this has, like, a hedge thing here. I'm going to try to find a small flathead. I want a nail clipper, that might work. This is totally gonna tip while I'm gone. However. Yeah, I could see this thing definitely going on fine, and then like getting stuck once it's actually on there. Ah! Something's happening. Ah, shit. I'm trying to be gentle with it as well so I don't bend the plate, so that would kind of suck. Dang it, the articulation on this thing makes this sort of annoying. Yeah, I mean, I guess the steel probably won't bend. Also, if I do bend it, I'm just going to force you to give me the CAD files so I can make the hole a bit bigger and go to another plate. Yeah, you could definitely make things happen with a bit of heat, probably, but I'm not trying to open up a heat chamber, you know? I don't think I have that tech. It's coming loose. They're almost there. Progress? Come on, buddy. Hey, there it goes. Nice. I might take a file to this. That might take a while though, because it is steel, anyways. Yeah, hopefully that's the case, because that would not be good. Or maybe it's just my panel. I don't know. This is the same file as the final. Gotcha. Well, we shall see when the final production ones come in. Maybe I'm just unlucky. So yeah, once you get to this point, you can definitely easily remove the caps. But I did see a video posted using some like floss or something that was able to easily do it as well. So this is definitely probably not necessary, but trying to think if I should put the blue ones on this or on the light, or if I should just keep them on this 10-pound, oh god, this 10-pound monster. God, why did I make that thing so heavy? What have I done? Hey man, floss is where it's at. Keep your teeth clean and your keycaps removed with the same tool. I think I'm gonna put the blue ones on the light. I think white and blue is gonna look sick. Okay, so oh yeah, if you're still here, Mr. Greg Turbo, is this enough space for where to put the brickboard? Wherever, for the brickboard to like lay in it without the bottom of the board touching the aluminum, or will you need to put like electrical? Or it is okay, cool. Good to hear. Barely, okay. I do like some mint green. That's some good stuff. Less surface area. Yeah, I don't think anodized aluminum should be conductive. So that was actually something I was worried about, Dwight, was the surface having like less space. So like your hand doesn't like fully rest on it or whatever. But I'm a dirty hand rester, which is not what you're supposed to do anyway in terms of ergonomics. And I was actually like, I didn't actually mind resting my hand on this, whoops, even though there's less space. So like this, there's definitely more space, but I didn't actually end up minding it as bad as I thought I would. Like I didn't mind at all resting my hand on it. But I should probably just not rest my hand anyway, because it's kind of dumb. Yeah, you're ending up like resting on the edge anyway with the normal box layout, so I don't think it ends up mattering that much, which is nice. No problem. I can't decide. I think I'm going to put the blue keycaps on the light, because blue and white is very cool. That's what my first DIY box was, blue and white. We're going to do the classic throwback. Okay, so let's see if this thing goes on easier than it came off. Yeah, it definitely, okay. I don't know if you're still here, Stefan, but yeah, this thing like instantly just goes back on, but trying to remove it was quite a bit more challenging. So this metal finish is like straight up god tier anodized aluminum is just so freaking cool. Like, it feels so nice. Like, I have sweaty palms, and using acrylic really bothers me. Yeah, I could try the keycap removing thing. Which is why I made this thing out of aluminum. Oh, God. It's, like, hard to hold in one hand. Gosh. So, like, my palm doesn't sweat on this thing. But fingerprints actually do show on... this is, like, brushed aluminum, I guess. Fingerprints show on this a bit. Not as bad as acrylic, but they're definitely there. If you look at anodized, though, like, I can put my sweaty, nasty fingerprint hands all over this thing, and there's no fingerprints, like, at all. It's crazy. Definitely love me some anodized aluminum, and I want to make my own keyboard with a case like this eventually, because that's where it's at. Okay. Feel cold. Yeah, it definitely does feel colder than an acrylic would. I get hot hands when I play anyway, though, so, like, that doesn't really bother me. But also, like, you could, like, put rubber things here if you wanted to, like wrist rest type things. Or you could just float your wrists, which is what you're supposed to do anyway in terms of ergonomics. And if you float your wrists, then you wouldn't feel it anyway. And the bottom has the rubber stuff on it, so you don't, like, feel it on your legs if you play with shorts or something. Yeah, also, like, if my hands are resting on this thing, as my hands, like, warm up the metal, it does, like, just become the same temperature as my hands, I found. Yeah, this rubber, like, this, it does not move at all. Like, it's very, very, very grippy. And, you will definitely not, like, have the thing slipping around. Like, on skin, it's very, very grippy. And then even on, like, when you're wearing pants, it's probably even more grippy, so +1 for that. Okay, I'll put this thing back together now, I suppose. If I can remember which screw holes were what. Oh wait, these are the lights screws, I think. Oh gosh, I've already forgotten. Box on the bare skin. I honestly have never, like, been too bothered by the whole slidey business, but maybe bare skin works better. Yeah, I noticed a couple of them were different lengths, and a couple had, like, different head sizes. I think there was, like, a couple that were PH2, and then the rest were PH1, I think. Suede sounds pretty cool. That sounds pretty nice. Okay. Let's see if I can remember where all these screws went. Let me actually make sure the PH1 and PH2 ones are the same. I think they're the same. Well, I guess we're about to find out. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. These. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the ones with the bigger screw heads do seem to have the same thread density and length and whatnot. They just have a different sized head, I think. Okay. Cool. Okay. Grab its board. Okay. Put this in, make sure it works before I throw it back together. Cool. Alrighty. This way. Cool. Did not destroy it. Very nice. Okay. That's okay. I might have bent this pin. Let's see. Yeah. I might have bent one of these pins. Yep. Whoops. Should be able to just bend that back into place. It should do the trick. Hopefully. Alright, let's not line this up like an idiot this time. I might have bent it too bad. Let's try that again. Hey, nice. Cool. All right, nice. Saved. Yes, I did not break one of the few of these in existence. That's good. It's okay. If you break a switch, it's not that big a deal. They only cost like 20 cents. And I've got like probably 200 of them, so. I imagine most people are probably not going to be taking this thing apart and breaking the switches like me. Yeah, mic is in the way. Oh, I can do sound comparisons too, can't I? Let me put this thing back together and then I'll do some quick sound tests for everyone. Okay, should be all of them. Oops. Okay. All right. She'll do a sound demo now. Get headphones on so I can monitor this, make sure it's actually picking things up. Okay. Let me line all three of them up, actually. Yes, I can get a GameCube controller out as well. Good idea. Oh, no. This is my... Oh, God, that's loud. Sorry. Audio-Technica AT2025, I think. That here. This here. Oh, no. I don't know if I have enough space. On Zoom. There we go. Let me grab a controller. Yeah, the Frame1s are quite noticeably smaller, actually. I knew they were going to be smaller, but I didn't expect it to be like this much smaller, you know? Okay. So... make sure GameCube controller gets picked up as well. Okay. actually watch the input monitor and see what volume these guys get to. I do have O-rings, which I'll be using to test as well. It's like minus 22. It's like minus 25. So this is like 3 decibels quieter. And then this is minus 27. So like 23, 5, 7. If I press like lightly, like if I'm not bottoming out, then there's like literally no sound. Like these things actuate like here. So like if you're not a spammer like I am, like I bottom out switches, then these don't make any noise, like barely at all. And then Sonos are relatively pretty quiet. So let me grab some O-rings. Do I have O-rings on? I've got some soft O-rings on this thing. I'll do that first since I already have them on. Oops. Actually, this is a good comparison because this also used Teardown clears. Okay. So these 4 do not have O-rings. Wait, do these not either? Oh shoot, these don't either. Okay, let me fix that. Oh god, that was loud. Sorry. Yeah, the light at, what is it, 120? That's like super sick for how nice it is. Like this thing, even though it has a plastic case, this thing's like really rigid. Like I'm like really squeezing on this thing and there's like 0 flex. And like same with bending, there just isn't any, which is really nice for a plastic case. Also there's no creaking or anything as well when you do that. My bad. Yeah, there's like barely any creaking or flexing or anything on this thing. Whoops. Compare that to this plastic keyboard, which like has a lot of bend to it. Does it creak? This one might not creak, but this thing bends quite a bit more. Okay, so let me put some O-rings on this thing. So on this thing, this is without O-rings. This is with So that's the baseline, just an idea of an O-ring. Now I'm gonna try and get the caps off of these things. Heavy is louder than this and then a box without O-rings. Let me compare it to a GCC real quick. I'm about to put O-rings on both of these things and compare the sound as well. Okay, just the triggers of a GameCube controller are louder than the heavy. Like, way louder. Like, the stick snapping sound is also way louder. Buttons are, like, a bit quieter. But yeah, like, between the stick and the triggers, a GameCube controller is still definitely louder than any of these. So O-rings do modify the feeling as well. Spin that back around. So these are like, I'm not actually sure what each of these are. These might be the same type of O-ring. So the ones I put on this thing are like a rubbery O-ring. And a rubbery O-ring makes it feel like a little bit squishier, a bit softer. Oh, I haven't played the F1 with the O-rings yet. Don't worry. One with the T-cap remover is 2.5. Okay. So like, some O-rings are harder and some are squishier, and the squishier ones will make the key feel a bit softer. Whoops. I personally actually prefer the softer feeling because I like really mash on the keys. So it feels like a bit less jolting when it's a bit softer, but others they don't like it because it's like a mushier feeling. And a harder O-ring will make it so it's not like mushy feeling at all. So that's something to keep in mind. And you can experiment with both of them. So I haven't actually tried removing the keycaps yet. Got the patent pending floss technique and a 3D printed part. I need to go find that video that you posted a video about it, right? And somewhere in here. Okay, cool. Did you pin it somewhere? I can't remember. Oh wait, I remember. It was a video called like Epic Technique 2015. I think I downloaded it because the title is just too funny. Yep, here it is. Real Working 2015. Oh man, this title, it's too good. Alright, so do that. And then that. Okay, cool. That looks fine. All right, here we go. Patent pending. I'm actually going to probably use this to remove the caps on this as well, because, yeah, I also have to take this thing apart to get the caps off. All right, here we go. Method that is confirmed working 2015. Ah, shit. Ah, shoot. I almost got it. Hey, this is a learning process, you know? Gotta aim for the notches. Yeah, I feel you. Let's see, I think that's in the notch. Hey, there it goes. Cool. Yeah, so it's got these little notches. Let me zoom in. So it's got these little notches, and when you put the string into that, it'll just let you pull it up and out. So that's cool. I'll just get 4 of these out so I can put O-rings on them. Pog. Just need 4 to do the classic pianoing thing. Top left instead of the straight left? Okay, I'll try that. Oh, and then you get it on opposite sides. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes way more sense. Yeah, so what I was doing, yeah, this is way easier than taking the thing apart. It's like, I think once I get good at it, it's super quick. Yeah, so if you do it at the top left, then it will push the string into like opposite corners, and then it's easy to pull it up. Whereas what I was doing was I was having the string go like on just one side. So it was a bit stuffed. Okay. Let me grab some O-rings. I can't remember. Did you say you think the 2.5 millimeter ones will give it the optimal travel distance? I can't remember. They should be. Okay. I did do some basic measuring to confirm that, but I'll probably do that later. Alrighty. Let us try this out. I'm guessing Glorious probably sells them on their website. Oh yeah, that's quite a bit different sounding. right? Yep. Much quieter. And these are much harder sounding, or feeling rather, than the squishier ones that I use. So these will definitely not make it feel like mushy, like some people don't like about the ones I use. Hard O-rings, yeah. Makes sense. Okay, so this is without O-rings and this is with. Yeah, that is on my scale, which is now different than it used to be because I've changed my microphone gain. These are peaking at like minus 15 on my OBS thing. And these are peaking at like minus 22. So that's a pretty large reduction in sound. Let me pull the headphones off and... yeah, that is quite a bit quieter. Okay. Cool. Let me do the same thing on the light. And I think... let's see if I can get these off just with my hands. I think that these are looser. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm sure quite a lot of people will prefer the less soft feeling that the hard O-range gives. That's cool. I've never actually tried those before, but those like don't even feel any softer. That's really nice. I'll have to oh yeah, I remember you saying that the prototype ones are less or less tight, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I think like this tool is pretty quick once you get to the hang of it, like you said. And you're actually putting it in the right corner, unlike I was. Oops. Yeah, for sure. Whoops. I'm sure a video showing it and explaining it will do the trick. Oh, darn. What have I done? There we go. Yeah, this is definitely that wedge taller. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. There we go. I think that's in. Yep. So I think once you get used to doing that, it's probably not too big a deal. And there really isn't anything like better you could do without like compromising on either the keycap look or the case look. Because like, do I have one on me? I think I do. So the gamer finger button caps, these have like similar dimensions. You can use them. And if you look, they have these gaps in them, which is where the buttons, the little clips for the buttons goes. That actually makes removing these keycaps a lot easier, at least on my controller, because there's like a notch in the side. Let's see if I can do it with just like a normal keycap tool. I might be able to, or maybe not on this. Yeah, probably not. But if you had like this notch Let's see if it's visible. There's like a little notch in there, but if there's like a bigger notch, then you could probably do it with an easier keycap tool, but it would be sort of disgusting looking. So, but yeah, there are the only gamer finger caps I actually like are their clear ones. They have like these 2-part clear ones that you could put art into. So if you were like gonna mod this thing and put like an art print on top of this, then you could get those gamer finger caps to have like the full art look, which might be cool. But besides that though, the F1 caps, the PBT ones, the ones that come on the heavy, are like way nicer feeling than these. Especially the white ones, which are pointless because the F1 has white caps. But the white gamer finger caps feel like super terrible. They're like, how do you even describe it? They're like the top of this, but like less nice feeling. It's just a really weird texture on the top of it. And then like I think the sides are glossy plastic, and I don't know, they just feel super cheap. Whereas like both of these feel infinitely better than those. But actually these clear ones, like this is transparent or translucent purple or something. These ones actually feel fine. These ones feel similar to these. Maybe they're similar. I wouldn't mind using these. So if you like translucent plastic, that is an option, which is kind of cool. And now I have to get it back out because it's, yeah. Where to put the thing? I definitely prefer the PBT keycaps on the heavy. They're like, I prefer the texture of PBT to like gloss. These feel very similar to Sanma buttons. So if you like the feeling of Sanma buttons in terms of their texture, then you'll like these. And I don't dislike them, but like on a keyboard, I much prefer PBT keycaps. Like, this thing's got PBT keycaps, and they're just like slightly textured, and they're matte. And yeah, I really prefer that versus like these, which are ABS, and they're a bit smoother feeling, I guess, but whoops. And I'm sure some people probably prefer the glossy finish. And they're definitely not bad, but that's just my opinion. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. Okay, let me get this out, and then I'll put O-rings on these, and then we'll do sound comparisons of O-ring heavy, not O-ring heavy, O-ring light, not O-ring light, and then Sanwas as well. Actually, I should put the O-rings on the same row as on the heavy. Okay. Let me get this gamer finger cap out, because it sounds a little bit different. Oh yeah, this has the notches in different locations. I forgot. This one's notches are like in the middle of it. So you probably want to put this in the middle and then try to fish this there. There we go. And then this should be able to pop up. Maybe. That thing just got launched. I don't know where it went. That's fine. It is somewhere now. Alrighty. Yeah, I should probably like have my hand over it to prevent them from going flying, but you know, it's cool. Okay, so put the O-rings on the lights, keycaps. And I'm using the thinner ones for this, the 1.5 millimeter, I believe. Geez, that is quiet. Wow. Oh, you know what I should also do is put PBT keycaps on the light and just see what that sounds like. That probably sounds different. Holy crap, that is quiet. Wow. Amazing. Okay, let me... steal some of the keycaps off of this thing. Oh, I might just be able to cheat and do this. Aha! See, I put the C-stick buttons closer to each other on mine because I prefer having them closer together. It's like less thumb movement or whatever. And that means there's a little gap here, so I can get the keycaps off easier on at least those. Cool. Okay. Let's try and get these out. I guess I'll put O-rings on like 2 of them. I would prefer to have 4 of each, but whatever. Yeah, I love these blue ones. Like, oh man, this is such a nice blue. And I can't decide if I like blue and silver or blue and white more. I do like both. Okay, it's probably going to be blue and white. Yeah, that looks cool. All right. So the heavy does come with PBT keycaps, and these blue ones are also PBT. These are spares that I bought specifically for this thing because I wanted some nice keycaps to put on this. But I might end up stealing them and putting them on the light because blue and white is kind of cool. But yeah, I do not have a black heavy to put stuff on, but I think Greg Turbo could probably demo like any of the colors on the black heavy if you want. Okay. Cool. So we've got... Yeah, no problem. All right, so we've got up top, this is O-rings, this is not O-rings. Move the pop filter. These are O-rings, these are not O-rings. And then this is PBT inside of the light, because I know some people want to put custom colors in their light. And these have O-rings, these two, and these two do not. So ABS, no O-ring on the light. This is, oh wait, this is O-ring, this is not. Okay. And here's ABS with with O-ring and without. Okay. This is with O-ring and without. Okay. So I'll be able to edit down all of this into a video form, and I'll be uploading that at some point. So you can get some more direct A/B comparisons and stuff. Which one sounds the best, though? I kind of like the PBT, actually, in the light. Especially with the O-rings. That sounds pretty sweet. Oh yeah, let me get Soundwas out. Yeah, the website does have renders showing what the PBT looks like. I think renders, it's sort of hard to do justice what it actually looks like though in person. So I think getting like a actual picture would be a bit better. Okay. So let me compare everything against Soundwas real quick as well. Okay, so ABS with O-rings, I think, is the quietest of all of them. Yeah, ABS, the light with O-rings, with PBT, is the quietest, if that's what you were looking for. But O-rings with the ABS caps that come stocked with this are also really quiet. And O-rings on the heavy are pretty quiet as well, just not as quiet. Are these about the same as Soundwas? Let's see. Yeah, O-rings on the heavy with the PBT caps, these are hard O-rings, are about the same sound as the Soundwas in terms of loudness. These are definitely a lot higher pitched. This is a lot deeper sounding. And then these two are just like crazy quiet, actually. This is O-rings, PBT, O-rings, ABS. Yeah, that's really, really quiet. So that's cool. I'll, like I said, I'll be making a video pretty soon where I'll probably just be like pulling video clips from this and then like doing a voiceover. And I'll have a bunch of like A/B comparisons with text on the screen saying which is playing and whatnot. So that should be pretty useful for people who care about the sound. Hey, no problem. Glad to test all of the sounds and feels and whatnot. Oh yeah, as per button feel, I like how the PBT ones feel better than the ABS, but that could also be because these are not final and they're like looser. Yeah, these are quite a bit looser than the PBT ones, and that is going to be fixed in the final version, so that probably would alleviate the only thing I'd... Oh, wait. Oh, with the O-rings, it's actually... There's a bit less wobble, I think. And yeah, with the O-rings, these actually do feel really good. I'll have to try out a full ABS O-ring setup, because I think that could be really good, even with my non-final keycaps. As for the PBT ones, These are the ABS ones have 1.5 millimeter hard O-rings from Glorious, and the PBT ones on the heavy are using 2.5 millimeter hard rings from Glorious, and I'll leave links to that on the video I end up making. But as for button feel, the O-ring ones with the ABS on the light are really stable, and the Teardown clears are super smooth, super linear, very good. The PBT ones also feel excellent on the light. The O-rings definitely help as well, I think, in reducing travel. I like that. And then the heavy uses the optical yellows, and these are like even more smooth. It's kind of like insane how smooth these are. Like, these are smooth, but this is just next level. Optical yellows are sick. Yeah, these feel amazing. And then Sanwa's, like, these are pretty new. I haven't actually used this much because the black acrylic drives me nuts. But, so like, these are relatively new, and I don't like turbo hate them. But even new, these don't feel anywhere near as good as Teardown clears or Teardown optical yellow. Which, yeah, I can't stand Sanwa's. And not to mention the fact that these only last 1 million cycles, and these last 50 million, these last 100 million. And these are like super easy to swap, because it uses hot swap sockets. So you can just swap this out, put in a new one, and then you get another 50 million. So, yeah. And not to mention the switches that replace these cost like 20 cents. You can get like 10 of them for $2. And a Sanwa switch cost $1. It's like 5 times more expensive. And you have to like take apart the entire thing to get to a Sanwa switch, which is really annoying. So like, I feel like just switches alone, the Sanwas are just really annoying in terms of like actually using them. There are cool looking Sanwas at least. Like, you can do art in a Sanwa, which is nice. But like, these art Sanwas feel god awful. I don't know how they managed to do it, but maybe it's like the wobble on them. They feel worse than normal Sanwas. Yeah, I legit cannot use this controller because it just feels so dreadful. At least it looks cool. And you can remedy the terrible feel with the Box's 20MX kit, I think. Yeah, which just released. But that's another like $80. So you'd have to like really want the customization, I think, of the buttons color-wise and stuff to justify that. Let me get a like older pair of Sanwas I have. Oh man, I forgot how bad these were. Ugh. So I've used these ones like a bit more. Oh man, they're just terrible. Oh, I hate these so badly. Yeah, no. Feeling, I would say, yeah, I do love this thing. It's very fun, and it uses matte acrylic as well, so it doesn't annoy me like glossy. Except it's like raw aluminum, so that shows fingerprints pretty bad. And it's like hilariously thick. Like, let's compare this to this thing. Oh no. Oh god. Yeah, needless to say, I wouldn't, even though this thing is like narrower, I wouldn't want to be taking this thing anywhere. And then like the box, which has a very thin, it's really thin for a fight stick. It's like 1.3 inches or something. Even that's like way thinner. But yeah, this old Sanwas are just dreadful, man. Like, oh man, they suck. Yeah, it's legit like, it is actually 3 times or is it? It's almost 3 times thicker. This is like 0.88 inches, I think, and this is like 2.125. So, yikes. Which PCB can I use for a box like this? Do I have one? I have an alpha version of it. I made this thing, which, focus, sir, which you can put inside one of these, and it works like a brick board, basically, where you just plug buttons into it and it just works. And it has USB-C and stuff. But these are really expensive because I hand assemble them. So they're like $100. So like I really don't even recommend buying them because they're so expensive. And because I have to assemble them and I don't really feel like assembling them. I just finished classes though. It is winter break. And what I want to try to do is get those assembled like in mass, like make an order of them and get a factory to assemble them so I don't have to do that. And that could like half the price of them, maybe. I don't know what they're going to end up costing, but I would really love to be able to do that so that people can have, because the board is like really nice and has all the features that you would want, but it's just expensive as hell right now. So other options are, do I have an Arduino on me? I don't, oh God. I should say in order to do the same switches as the 120 F1 Lite. Yes. So box is $230, and then you pay $70 to get the good switches in it. And it's $100 if you do want it assembled. If you pay $70, then they give you a kit, and you'd have to do what I did in this video, which was take apart the box, which is pretty easy. But then you have to like take apart the switches, which is sort of annoying. And the only benefit you get from that is, like I said, the buttons you can like customize really heavily. Like you can do rims like this or art like this. But yeah, expensive. Very, very expensive. That's really the only benefit is there's like more customization options. So yeah, if that matters to you, then that matters to you. But if not, then you can get something for a lot cheaper that has the same quality switches in it. Yeah, I guess I'm done ranting about Sonwas. I hate Sonwas, man. Stock Sonwas at least. They are not good. Not good. Yeah, and I mean the form factor of arcade buttons is like kind of cool looking, but I don't think this is like bad looking. So aesthetically speaking, and like it doesn't feel any different to not have like that button rim around it. I wonder if you could paint over the F1. You probably could. You might need to like strip this is painted, I believe, so you need to like maybe strip the paint off of it first. And this is anodized, which I don't know if you can paint over anodized, actually. But that would be kind of cool if you could do a custom paint job on it. I'm sure if you had like a source or someone who does like metal work, then you could probably refinish this if you wanted to. Sure, there are a lot of people who blast these with stickers, though honestly, like, I would maybe do that with black acrylic, because then you wouldn't be touching the acrylic, you'd be touching stickers. But on anodized, oh man, you just have to touch this, you know. I wouldn't want to put stickers on anodized metal. But hey, you do you. If you want to blast it with stickers, then be my guest. Is there anything else I want to do here? Is my listing good? Oh, I forgot to answer Tom1. So there are, ignore the fact that this is like a board. So you can get like this Arduino Micro, And you can make a DIY using one of those. So you like get your Arduino Micro, and then you run like your data line over to this logic converter, and then you would run like your logic converter to your GameCube cable, which you can just get like either a stock GameCube cable and desolder its cable and use that, or you can use like an extension cable. So there are way cheaper options for making a DIY, but it requires more work because you have to do like soldering and stuff like that. So that is something to keep in mind. But what I'm hoping to do is make it so my board is cheap enough, like super, super cheap, so anyone can buy it if they want to. And I'm also working on another board that will be like totally open source, so you could like make it yourself. And that will just use through-hole connection solder joints, which should be easy. What were you talking about, LaPlante? You missed, was my listing good? I'm not sure what you were talking about. I might have missed it. Oh, in terms of feeling, heavy light box, that one. I would say I might actually like how O-ringed PBT feels on the light the best, but that might just be because it's softer, and I'm like, I prefer softer feeling buttons. I would say PBT O-ring on both of these feels really good. So like on the Dataron clears and the optical yellows, they both feel really, really nice. And then like the PBT over here without the O-rings and over here also feels really nice. And then I really like ABS with O-rings. And ABS without O-rings is like not as good as these other options, but it's still pretty solid. And then I'm guessing that box with 20MX kit would feel similar to these because they use the same switches. And then box with Sanwa, I really despise Sanwas. They just don't feel good in the first place, and then they like quickly degrade into feeling terrible. And they have really terrible lifespan. Like you have to, the lifespan is just bad. I think being snapped into 3D printed plastic has a different feeling than steel. Yes, that's probably also true. So if I can, my keyboard is in Neverland. Let me go here. Then do this. So here the switches are clipped into a 3D printed plate, it looks like. And that would change how the switches feel a bit. I've got desktop cam. I've got, these are clipped into an acrylic plate, which is probably similar feeling to a 3D printed plate. And there's definitely noticeably a bit more flex, and I definitely prefer being mounted to a metal plate. But I would imagine it's probably similar in feeling, probably close in feeling to this, which feels good. But just stock Sanwas, I feel really hatred towards. They're just not good. And the fact that they only last 1 million presses is just, it's just not good. I don't get why that's the industry standard for fight sticks. It's just kind of a joke. Like that Switch design came out like forever ago, and it died in the keyboard scene because it was just bad. Like I'm pretty sure Tokai MM9 was this like terribly obscure Switch. Yeah, the Tokai MM9, and who even knows when this thing came out. But like it looks exactly like a Sanwa Switch basically. And oh, this one has 2 million cycles though. Nice. But yeah, this thing and Saimitsu switches and Sanwa switches all look the same. I'm guessing they all work the same as well. And I guess Sanwa just decided to go with this design, and it sort of stuck because I don't know, like arcade machines probably used them, I guess, so people wanted them for their fight sticks. But nah. Screw that. yeah, it is a joke. Like 1 million is really bad. I want to do some math, you know? Like I want to go to, yeah, how often you press left or right? It's probably at least 1 time per second. And like, let's say a match on average lasts, I don't know, 4 minutes. That's 240 presses per match. Very, very roughly. So you get like 4,100 games before you have to switch the buttons. Just very, very roughly. Yeah, that is not a lot of hours of gameplay. Oh, man. That's rough. That is rough. Like, I've probably played like... Yeah, I can imagine if you play a Dash Dance heavy character. Oh, man. Oh, man. I mean, even like your B button or your R button that you're using to wave dash and your jump buttons, like, yeah, drift heavy character where you're constantly pressing left and right. Yeah, that's not good. At least there's an option to fix your arcade controllers because crown buttons exist and you could get those for like $3 each. So that's like $60, which is like not an amazing deal. And crown buttons have their own issues, but and now the 20 MH kit's only $70, which it used to be more. Which at $70, I'm like maybe considering getting it for my poor art controller that feels terrible. But it's still expensive, $70 or $60. That's a lot. But I guess some people, they want to justify it with their art buttons or whatever. Go for it. I don't know. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to show before I sign off. Did sounds. Tried the different keycaps on the different boards. I should probably put this switch back in here, shouldn't I? I will not leave you guys hanging. Yeah. Satisfying. Magic. Oh, God. Yep. Dropped my aluminum keyboard on it. You know, I'm very professional. Hey, it looks fine. Sorry. Yeah. All these controllers are pretty expensive. Durability test passed. Definitely. Dropped my brick of a keyboard on it. Yeah, these things are, all of them are expensive, but they all do warrant the price at the very least. Like even the expensive buttons, like arcade buttons, I think warrant their price because there's like a lot of stuff going on. Like there's a massive button shell that gets molded out of plastic, and this plunger is really big, and there's a switch. So like the price is warranted at least, but it still stings, you know. And like the 20 MH kit warrants its price as well because those are handmade. So like they warrant the price, and then it just, I don't know, it just ends up costing more because there's more work to do. Whereas like these things are just, you have a switch clipped into a plate, and then that's above a PCB. So there's way less work, way less parts. So yeah, this thing in terms of like price is definitely beating the custom GCCs with Firefox notches and all that stuff. And a GCC is not going to give you, let me zoom in. You aren't going to be getting this level of like machining and just quality out of a GameCube controller ever. Like, CNC aluminum is a hell of a thing. Like, yeah, this is crazy. Like, this thing is just nuts. I would expect the MX-based Sanwas to feel very similar to Gatoron Clears in a F1 Lite, these use the same switches. I would expect that to feel pretty similar to the MX Sanwas. Yeah, GCCs they're not bad. Like, the texture on these is nice. It doesn't bother me, at least. But like, the quality of the components is just bad. Like, rubber membrane buttons are just kind of trash. These analog sticks suck. Like, you need to program the game to fix them, and you need like mods to do that, since Nintendo didn't fetch that back in 2001. So like, yeah, these things suck. These things are terrible. But I'm preaching to the choir on that. Everyone knows how much these suck. Yeah, especially in terms of quality, though. Like, all three of these things absolutely smash a GameCube controller in quality. Like, this thing has really nice chamfered edges as well. This thing, like, all three of these have very nice chamfered edges. And they're all built out of way better materials than a GameCube controller. Like, it's just no comparison. I would love if you could get micro switches in a controller like this. Like, here we go. My beloved AGS 101. These things are all micro switched. Bruh. These are amazing. I absolutely love micro switch buttons like that. Super sick. With O-rings, will the travel distance be similar to GCC buttons? No. GCC buttons are like, they're either pressed or they're not pressed, and there's no like in between. Let me zoom. I'm trying to see the preview, and there we go. Like, there's no in between state. It's either pressed or it's not, and it's like a tactile keyboard switch. It's like a rubber dome switch on like a rubber dome keyboard, you know, where you just press it and then boom, it's activated once it's all the way down. Whereas on this, there's like travel, and it activates like somewhere in between. So like this activates like here, like 1 millimeter down, and then it goes down another couple millimeters. Yeah, I don't know what PG's doing. I hope PG comes out with a good controller. That'd be sick. Oh, yeah. Some membrane keyboards are actually good. I've got a BTC dome with slider keyboard, and that thing is sick. That thing feels amazing. Would recommend. It's a BTC 5100C. And I don't straight up hate these buttons, like rubber dome buttons. They're not like that bad. Like there's definitely worse buttons out there, but yeah, it is funny seeing people who praise the GameCube controller. Topras, they are membrane based, I believe, but they have partial, like they activate halfway down or something because they use a capacitive PCB, I think. Is there a membrane? I can't remember if there's a membrane in a Topra board, but no, there's not a membrane. It's like a conical spring and then like a rubber dome under the spring, and that's on a PCB, I think. I can't remember how Topra is constructed. Yeah, Model M's are membrane. What I don't like is when it's like a piece of rubber and that rubber like just collapses and that's the key press. That's what I'm not a fan of, and that's like what these have and what your cheap membrane boards have. Membrane rubber dome based boards. O-rings will the activation distance be close to the bottom. So you can make it so your O-rings do Like, at the bottom of the O-ring is the bottom of the T-press. So, like, if you just have a thick enough O-ring, right, then when you reach the bottom and the O-ring stops you, that's where it'll be the activation. So you can make it so it activates right at the end if you want to. I've personally found that, like, having the activation, like, halfway down is kind of nice. So, like, oh, dude, foam and foil. Oh, no. I'm going to get flashbacks, man. Get a foam and foil board off eBay and, like, the foam is disintegrated and the board is just totally dead. Shudder. But yeah, so you can, with O-rings, you can change the activation basically to wherever you want. So, like, these things are 2mm activate, 4mm bottom out. If you put, like, some size of O-ring on there, you can change that 4mm bottom out to be 3mm, 3.5, 2.5, up to, like, 2, which is where it actuates. So you can make it so the actuation and the bottom out is the same. But I prefer, I guess on the Gatoron clears, I prefer maybe like 2mm actuate, 3mm bottom out, just to have like slightly less travel. But that's a problem I sort of have with the Gatoron clears, is that they don't actuate higher up. So, like, if you want to reduce the travel on Gatoron clears, then you can't have that 50-50 actuation total travel distance that I like. But honestly, like, I'm never, like, lightly pressing these down to 2mm. I'm always just pressing them all the way anyway. So I guess it doesn't really bother me that much. Whereas these things are 1mm actuate. The optical yellows are 1mm. So you could actually get the travel down to 2mm total. And then if you do that, that gives you 1mm actuate, 2mm total. And then you get, like, super short travel, and you still have halfway activation. So you have a lot of options basically with O-rings, which is cool. I can basically short hop on anything. Like, I even had stupid switches, like box navies, and I was still able to short hop. I think it's just a matter of, like, getting used to it. And I actually find short hopping on a GCC to be harder now than these. Granted, I haven't used the GCC much because it was just so bad that, like, it pained me to use at all. Just, like, doing any movement from, like, B, Y to C stick over and over again, playing Falco or whatever. Yeah, no. But I actually find that short hopping on these is fine. Do you mean on the GCC you can't slide off, or on, like, botched controllers, art? Because I found that I can slide off on, like, this, I guess, as well as I'm able to slide off on this as well, and that works fine. I found that I don't really need to, though, personally. Like, I just tap it, and that's short enough. But yeah, it is easier on I guess GCC you can slide off easier, but I find sliding off to be fine on either, though. Yeah, if you're on a keyboard, then you have, like, keys underneath your jump button, I guess, right? So slide off on Y. I don't think you ever need to short hop with Y. Because I think the only time you ever use Y, I might be wrong because I don't actually play the game that much. The only time you ever use Y is to wave dash, right? So, like, you just do that. Yeah, I didn't actually think about that. But yeah, on a keyboard, like, if you try to slide off, then boom, you just press into another button. If you want to wave dash with a short hop input. Yeah, I don't... Can you... I guess you could probably slide off like that and be fine. That probably works. I've never thought about that, though. How do F1 light buttons feel in comparison to textured? So these, I don't know if you've used Sanwa buttons before, but these are, like, glossy plastic ABS, and they feel very similar to a Sanwa button in terms of their texture. They feel very much like the GCC's A button, or Y or B or X buttons. They feel basically like that. Whereas these textured ones, if you have a keyboard that uses ABS caps, they basically feel like that. They're just like slightly textured. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you like Sanma's feeling, I like the glossy feeling. It's fine. I just don't like glossy when it's like the faceplate, which is then fingerprints, etc. Let me zoom in on. Oh, poor camera. It doesn't like it. Come on. Yeah, no. Let me try getting one. Oh. All right. Instead of zooming up, I'm going to try doing one of these. Can I spot the texture? I don't think I can. Come on, camera, you can do it. Sort of? Maybe? You can sort of see, like... It's a bit, like, speckled, I guess. It's like... There's a little bit of texture to it versus just, like, straight smooth. There's a little bit of texture. Yeah, a bit of noise. That's a good way to put it. And I just prefer how that feels personally when I'm typing or playing games or whatever. But it's not like I dislike glossy buttons. They're fine too. Was there anything else I wanted to mention? Go back to my list of stuff. If there's anything else I've had a conclusion on already. Okay. I still want to do latency tests. I want to hook up my little thing. Do I have that? I think I might. Oh god. It's plugged into something. I've not done this yet, but I've got this little board that outputs a pulsing line. I actually have an LED. Let me plug it in. The B button is not 5-volt tolerant. Okay. Are other buttons 5-volt tolerant? Or like the rest of them? Because maybe I could like get a... There's one or two. If I did a custom firmware that like swaps B and something else that is 5-volt tolerant, then that would help. Or... do you think I could just like level shift it using like a level shifter? Would that probably work? Okay. Does that add any delay? I don't think it does it? Oh my gosh, trying to plug something into my computer when I'm blind. Oh, it's not gonna happen. Alright, I'll use a front USB port. Delay is however long the transistor takes to switch. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so yeah, I've just got this little circuit that will turn on and off, and I can use that to send a button signal to both of these things and do a little comparison. So I still have to do that. I still need to figure out how to set this thing up and try to measure Sanwas. Try to show what I'm talking about when I say it. These feel meh. Holes next to each button on the PCB. Oh, I didn't actually look. But are those like through holes where I could just put something into to access it? Cool. All right, that'll help. All right. I think I've done everything else I want to talk about here. So unless anyone else has anything they want to ask, I'm going to call it a day. I sure have quite the mess to clean up here. Alrighty. No problem. I can't wait to actually edit and voiceover and make this into a cohesive thing, because the stream is, of course, rambly and just me messing around, opening these guys and whatnot. Alrighty then. I'm going to get back to cleaning this stuff up. Go check out the new documentary coming out in an hour by B0XX, I believe. What time is that? Is that 5? I think that's 5. Stream starts at, 2 p.m. PST. So definitely go check that out in an hour. And I will see you all later.